So I haven't uploaded an Overwatch video in months. If you're a returning subscriber, you know that I stopped playing. I made a video saying I stopped playing. And I regret the way that I voiced my concern in that video. I wasn't very constructive. I basically just whined and said that the community was toxic and that I was tired of it. I regret the way that I spoke in that video, to be honest. But nothing I can do to change the past, right? We're here today, so I want to talk about some issues on console. I was inspired by Seagull's video. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it. The link is in the description. It is a really good listen. I admire the way that he spoke about the issues and how professional he was. And there was something that he said at the end of the video. I'm going to play it right now that inspired me.
I love this game, and I feel like I had to talk about these sort of issues because the Overwatch community is pretty small, guys. There's seriously like less than 10 or 15 YouTubers, Twitch streamers that do this full time with big audiences. And a lot of people, YouTubers and streamers, have just quit the game to move on to greener pastures. And I think it's important to talk about these issues because I love games. I got into this because I loved Overwatch. I love competing. I love learning about the games. I love talking about them. And I want to see true change for Overwatch. I don't want just another hero release or 2 or 3 hero releases per year with a couple maps and we call it good with some recycled holiday events. I want to see true change. I want to see Overwatch be better than it ever has been. And I don't think I'm alone in feeling this way about Overwatch being frustrating or tilting to play way too often.
So listening to Seagull's video really inspired me to make this one. He had some incredible points, really good points, and very well spoken. If you haven't seen the video, I highly recommend it. The link is in the description. Please go listen to Seagull's perspective. It is a good listen. A lot of the problems he spoke about correlate both ways to both the console and the PC scene. But the console scene has its own problems, and the console scene has been neglected right from the beginning. I mean, everybody knows that this is primarily a PC game, right? Blizzard wants to focus on the Overwatch League and the pro scene, and I completely get it. But the console scene is massive, or at least it was. It was giant, and it's been neglected. It really has been. There have been problems in the game ever since the beginning, and they've just never been addressed. People talk about it all the time on Reddit and whatnot, but I want to touch on them here. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the aiming system. The aiming system has been flawed ever since the beginning. If you're a casual player and you go to your sensitivity settings and you want to change and alternate some stuff, this is what you see. You have a million different settings. You have no information as to what any of this does. So if you want to figure it out and you want to change your sensitivity and find what's best for you, you got to either look online to learn about what all this stuff does, or B, just guess. And that's just ridiculous. There should be some in-game information that tells you specifically what all of this stuff does. To me, it should be as simple as every other first-person shooter. You have 1 through 14, or whatever it is, and you pick your sensitivity settings. But it's just not the case. There is so many different settings to go through, and people don't know what any of this stuff is. On top of that, the aim system is super flawed. If you're a hit scan player, you've experienced this before, where your crosshairs will pull in directions that it really shouldn't. I feel like the hitboxes on some of the characters pull your aim way harder than others, or it's hard to explain exactly what it is, but if you've experienced it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. There is definitely a problem with the aim system, and it needs to be addressed, as well as in-game information as to what all of these settings are. Because like I said, a casual player is going to get turned off by this. They're not going to know what to do, and chances are they're probably just going to stay on the default settings because they don't know what the hell is going on. One of the next bigger issues that I've found browsing Reddit and forums and, just looking at the general consensus is Smurfs. Smurfs are a big problem on console. And to some of you, if you're in the higher rank, you may disagree, but you got to open your eyes to the majority of the player base. The casual player base, they are, lower tier, middle tier ranks, and Smurfs are a problem. When you're playing on console, you can have unlimited accounts. It's not like PC where you have to buy a new game every time you want a new account. On console, all you do is make a new PSN. Done. You can have unlimited accounts. And the report system is flawed too. That's the next topic I'm going to talk about, but you can't just simply report somebody for throwing and expect something to be done, because that's just not the case. So as far as Smurfs, I don't know what kind of solution can be done. To me, it sounds like a Sony PlayStation problem. I don't think Blizzard can really do anything on their end, except for maybe raising the level limit for competitive. If it was level 50, people aren't going to want to create new accounts every single time, right? They're not going to want to grind to level 50. It's hard enough to grind to level 25. But it kind of works both ways, where it's kind of like the casual player wants to play competitive but doesn't want to get to level 50. But it's also kind of good because by the time you're level 50, you're going to have a better understanding of the game and the mechanics. So a solution to that may be to raise the level limit. But like I said, it kind of contradicts itself, because maybe some casual players don't want to grind to level 50. That's a tough one. But Smurfs are definitely an issue, and they need to be addressed. So to kind of backtrack a little bit too, I wanted to talk about the reporting system as well. For me personally, the reporting system hasn't done anything for me. When I was playing before, I would continually report people, and I have never once received a confirmation message saying, hey, we received your report, action has been taken. Never. And I've had these same people in my games consistently over and over, and I've never had anything done about it. So that's demotivating for me, because it's like you have these 1%ers, like we're talking small portion of the game, that are genuine trolls, that are people that are out there to ruin the game for others. It's a small percentage. But you have these people out there that are continually getting away with it, and then continuing. And then I don't get a confirmation message saying that, hey, we received your report and action has been taken. That's a kick in the nuts, man. That's annoying. That is so frustrating to have happen. But then on top of that, if you do receive a confirmation message, chances are that this player is probably just going to go on another account and do the exact same thing over and over again. So there needs to be a better system in place where Blizzard can detect whether it's the same person on, different accounts. I don't know if there's something that can be done there, but I feel like that needs to be talked about and addressed. On top of that, again, the avoid system. So I've avoided people. I think you all have. And I can't be the only one that has had this happen, but I've avoided people and then played another game, and that exact person that I just put on the avoid list is on my team a second time, maybe even a third time. That should never happen. If you purposely got rid of the prefer player for the avoid player has to work, man. Like you can't avoid somebody and then just boom, you have them on your team again? No. Absolutely unacceptable. That can't happen. Now, because the console scene has slowly diminished, like right now it's at the lowest it's ever been. I mean, top 500 right now is at like 3,900 on PS4 NA, which is insane. That's so low. I think that Blizzard needs to introduce something to revitalize the console scene, because it was massive. I mean, there's no denying how big the console scene was. It genuinely was big. I think one of the things that they can do that would greatly, and I'm talking greatly, revitalize the console scene is cross-platform between Xbox and PlayStation. I think it needs to happen, and I think if it does happen, it's going to bring back a lot of players that stopped playing because they really had nothing to grind for. But now, if they introduce that, you kind of have this feeling of wanting to assert dominance on the other console, you know? As corny as that might sound to some people, I think that would bring back a lot of the incredibly talented players on both platforms. If you look through the top 500 list, a lot of the players, like the OGs that were, running the top 500 back in the day, like they're done. They don't play no more. But if you introduce top 500 and you combine the two, you have PlayStation and Xbox together. Now it's like there's something to fight for. It's like you wanna be that guy, right? It kind of, you just get that feeling of wanting to be better than the other player on the other platform. I think it needs to happen. I think it'll bring back a lot of fire in a lot of these OG players that used to play competitively. I think it needs to happen. Now, that also brings me on to my next point. To me, if you want to revitalize console Overwatch, You need to implement social features that encourage people to play together. You need to encourage team play, and you need to encourage people to want to stack. Back in the day, you could stack all day long, and it was never frowned upon. It was fun. It was better that way. It was team versus team. Nowadays, if you stack, you're looked down on. You didn't deserve your rank. You were boosted. That's not the mentality to have. The game is meant to be played with friends, and it's meant to be played as a team. So, to me, I think they need to implement an in-game system of some sort where it's 6v6, team versus team, and it's competitive, okay? Now, I know that competitive scene on console, lol, I get it. PC players, they're gonna say that about every single game. But there are some incredibly talented people on console. There is. And competitiveness always started on console. I mean, look at Call of Duty, look at Halo, Gears of War. There's a scene for it. There's always been a scene for it. Now, even if Blizzard didn't do LAN events with console, whatever, they don't have to put a ton of money into it. But if it was an online system, all in-game, and you could have built-in tournaments, and you have qualifiers to bring your team to finals or whatever, and you could win something as simple as loot boxes or in-game currency to buy loot boxes or golden gun points, or even if they implemented a new system where you could get special skins or something. To me, they need to bring back the social aspect of the game. And the best way to do that is to do what the game's all about. It's about six stacking, it's about team coordination, it's about, playing together. And I think the best way to do that is to implement an in-game system where team versus team, you just go off with each other. That's the best way to do it. Now, that system would mean that you're playing with 5 other people that you're familiar with, or maybe you just randomly got together with, maybe like through the LFG system or whatever the case may be. But I also think that if you are solo queuing, now this is specifically on console, I feel like you should be forced into team chat. You should not be able to leave team chat. You should always be able to mute people. If you don't want to speak, that's fine. But I feel like you should be forced into team chat. Console is different from PC. On PC, if you leave team chat, you can still see the text. You can still coordinate with your team through the text messaging system. On console, we don't have that. We have an in-game wheel that says understood, thanks, and group up. That's all you have. So if somebody joins a game and leaves team chat instantly, you're already at a disadvantage. I get it. Some people don't want to socialize with others. I completely understand. But I feel like in a game like Overwatch, especially on console, where the only way that you can communicate with your team is through the mic system, you should be forced into team chat. And if you don't want to listen to somebody, or somebody's being rude to you, or whatever the case is, then you go and mute that person. Other than that, I think you should have to be in team chat. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. There's nothing more frustrating than having somebody leave team chat instantly and simply spamming thanks or understood with the interaction wheel or whatever you want to call it. That is frustrating, and that rubs off on your other teammates, and now your teammates are tilted, and it's just a vicious cycle. That's how Overwatch works. One person gets tilted, and it affects others, and then those people affect others, and it's just a vicious cycle that continues and continues. So I think forcing people into a team chat, like I said, if you want to manually mute somebody, completely understand. If you want to mute yourself, completely understand. But you should have to listen. If there's people that are giving, actual call outs, you should be there to listen to it. So now for the rest of the video, I want to play out some clips. I was playing with a few other friends. Some of them you may know of, Digital Nex as an example. Very, very well-known Pharah player on the console scene. My friend Chicken 9 Man, PC Swig, who still plays Overwatch. He's one of my only friends that still plays. Consistent top 500 player. So he's very well knowledged in the game. He understands what would make it better. So I'm going to play out some of the clips that they said, because it's really interesting to hear what other people feel as well. I think it's important to hear. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. and that will be the rest of the video. I want to take the second to say thank you guys for watching and listening. I hope that this actually gets seen by Blizzard, because the console scene, it feels bad, man. Like, we definitely have been neglected. We have been neglected. We've been in the dark. Aside from a few changes to like Symmetra's turrets, Torb's turret back before he got altered, the Ana aim assist for friendlies, like there was little changes like that made the console experience better. But I feel like there's way more problems that need to be addressed, and for me, most of them are social problems that would change the way players feel about each other and the toxicity towards each other. That's just gonna bring the player base back if we see those changes. So anyways, like I said, thank you guys again. I'm gonna play out the rest of these clips. I hope you guys understand. If you disagree or you have other opinions, let me know. Comment down below. This is the place to do it. If you've got something else that you want to add or say about it, I'd love to hear it. I'll be going through the comments and reading what you guys have to say as well. So I'm done rambling. Thank you guys for watching.
Yeah, and I think my biggest thing why I stopped Overwatch, or stopped playing Overwatch altogether, was because there was no incentive in ranked for me to keep going.
Right.
It's like once you hit top 500, it's like, what else is there? What else is there for me to get? It's like I keep getting competitive points, but all I get is gold guns.
That's true.
I need something else to keep me motivated in the game. And like, yeah, it sucks when a game kind of forces you to, like, the meta forces you to play certain heroes that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Or that you have to rely on people not to be toxic to win a game. And I think that's what Overwatch's biggest downfall is that you have to rely on teammates. Like, your team, like, you have to rely on these people in order to win a game, and if not, you're screwed. It's like all your hard work just goes to waste. Right. And I think what also hurt console Overwatch is that Blizzard paid so much attention to PC Overwatch.
Right.
Like, PC Overwatch was their main priority, and they did everything for PC. Like, how cool would it have been to have our own, like, console leagues and stuff? And I get third parties do it and stuff like that.
It's not the same, though.
Yeah, I want something official. Like, how cool would it have been, like, when I went to BlizzCon, like, we had the media badges, and I got to go to the stage and, like, watch them actually play. Like, that was such a cool feeling. Like, I can only imagine console players getting something like that. I have it painted on my wall. I bought, like, the collector's edition. I bought the Diva statue. Like, I was legit gonna get a Pharah tattoo.
Like, exactly.
Because
like,
I love Overwatch so much. But like I said, the competitive thing, and I think what ruined it for me is that you have to rely on people so much. And I think that's what will do it for me, is like bringing back different competitive modes is like really like key to me, because I hella want to play like a free-for-all competitive mode and try to go for top 500 in there.
Right.
Because if that was the case, like, that's all me. It doesn't matter what hero I pick. That's me doing the work in order to get top 500 in that. Or if it's like a 3v3, it's like me and two other friends. Of course you would do it with two other friends. I mean, you can do it with two other randoms, but like, of course you have two other friends that play this game.
Wait, did you ever take down your painting or what?
No, I still have, like, my Overwatch painting logo is like right in front of me, like right behind my monitor, so I see it. And like, since I bought the collector's edition, it came with all the postcards of all the maps, and they're all individually framed.
Yeah. Those look cool.
And like, it looks nice, and like, I loved Overwatch so much, but it's like they just didn't take care of the console scene
at all.
And it's like console Overwatch was a neglected stepchild.
I think between fixing the aim settings, letting us choose what maps we wanted to play, or even a veto system. Why not have a voting system? Like, if you get queued into a game, right? So right before the game loads, it's like, hey, these 12 players are gonna play in a match together. It puts you in a screen where you can choose, you can vote on 3 maps, right? You have maybe one King of the Hill, one 2CP, an assault payload map, whatever. And the 12 players can now vote on what they want to play. Why not do that?
I just hear like this little dissent in the back
cool.
of my head, just me thinking that, oh hey, the people are only going to farm that one particular game type and they're going to use that to like win. I'm just thinking of ways to exploit it.
I would just
right,
play,
right off the bat.
But that's okay though.
They won't play like all the heroes.
But why is that? That's not a bad thing though, because who cares? At this point, it's like nobody really cares about rank. The number, nobody actually cares. At this point, to me, it's about having fun. That's why I stopped playing Overwatch. I didn't stop playing Overwatch because I couldn't climb rank. I didn't give a fuck about my SR. My biggest thing was I stopped having fun. I was getting angry, and it wasn't fun. Would I have had more fun if I could have pick and choose what maps I played? Maybe. If I could have chose my teammates, or had a better queue system, maybe I would have had more fun.
One thing I think this game actually lacks, and this is like completely away from the competitive scene, but I think this game doesn't really have enough shenanigans in it. Like, even with the casual mode, it's still like 6s, and you're going to be running 6s. There's not really enough space for you to just kind of like screw around and just random stuff happen, Now, I know I'm kind of comparing it to TF2 at this point, but like, even though that game's kind of been dying, it still has a pretty strong community, and the games that you play in there, they never really feel the same. Like, you're always going to be playing against different people that have different skill sets. I don't know, some factor of RNG mixed into there would probably help just a little bit, make things a little fresh, and maybe get some silly situations.
I think we made it interesting because it's like something we all really like care about, and like want to see get better again. It's like, yeah, I like, especially me, I shit talk the game, but it's because I care about it so much that I hate that it just kind of like not disappeared entirely, but. I don't know. I feel like if they do the right things, the game could make a comeback and like get a lot of people interested again.
Right.
I think all the people that want to come back, they're waiting to come back. Like, they're waiting for Blizzard to be like, hey, do something so I could come back. Like, I have a reason to come back. Like, there's a lot of people that want to come back.
Bro, there's no other game
PC
like this.
players that want to come back.
No, this is the only
PC
kind of
players
game
that
of its
want to
type.
come back.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of like people players I know that are like pretty good at the game, and they move to PC and they play tank because they have the game sense and stuff, but they're not the mechanical yet. But they want to come back because they don't like being a tank player on PC. They're like, you just do something like Overwatch to make console better, and so I could come back like already.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, because there's no other game like this. Like, if you're a huge fan of Overwatch, there's nothing else you can go to. If you're tired of Overwatch and you want to play something similar, what do you like? There's nothing. There's nothing similar to playing Overwatch. So if they improve the complaints of the community and they make some changes, even if it's a big overhaul, man, if it completely changes the game, it is what it is. It'll bring people back. And if it's a good thing, it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, poor Overwatch. It was like, Blizzard, I don't feel so good.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shit.